Hey y'all, now some of you knew this video was coming, and to those that didn't, this might be a pleasant surprise. But today we're going to be talking about WandaVision. Yeah, now WandaVision, for those of you that don't know, is the new Marvel Disney Plus show that stars Elizabeth Olsen and Paul Bettany as returning as their characters Wanda Maximoff, Scarlet Witch, and Vision. Vision uh, from the MCU, from the Marvel film. Now, it does seem to be set in the standard MCU, but in a small parallel, well, not even a parallel universe reality, a small, like a small fixed point where Wanda's powers seem, excuse me, sorry about that, seemingly went out of control. And at first, it was just her being like trapped and what they're calling the hex because it's hexagonal and because that ties into the whole Scarlet Witch motif. But there's a small hexagonal space over a town called Westview, New Jersey, which has seemingly disappeared from epic maps and seems to be showing that Scarlet Witch's reality manipulating powers are growing and seemingly beyond her control at this point. If they really are or not, it may just be her. She's so grief stricken. Sorry, she's so grief stricken by the loss of vision and everything else that has gone on in the past few years that she kind of. It seemed like she suffered a bit of a mental break and was so distraught with the loss of vision that she busted into a shield or sword facility. Sorry, and stole Vision's corpse. Now, what we don't know is if she found a way to actually bring him back, or if he is literally just a dead puppet on a string being played by Wanda. Now, the people, all the other people in Westview, they are actual, real human beings. They don't have these. They have different personalities that Wanda has kind of forced onto them, and kind of rewritten them with, though their initial and original personalities do still exist. So it's not that she's completely rewriting their reality or changing their reality, as more as just putting something else on top of it. You know, it's, it's like it's kind of similar to how Get Out was, where they will take a guy's brain out and a part of him is still in there, and kind of just trapped, stuck in the sunken place. It's a bit like that. Like you're kind of stuck in your own body, not being able to control what it's doing and watching someone else control your actions and you having absolutely no volition of your own. So, first things first, WandaVision so far has been, to me, just in my personal opinion, WandaVision has been one of the most impressive things in the MCU so far. And I like and I really appreciate the fact that it seems to be showing exactly how the MCU is going to expand and move away from strictly, just science and tech based heroes and villains, and definitely expanding more on the mystical, paranormal, supernatural aspect of the MCU and the Marvel multiverse in a whole. Now, I have a feeling that all of the new shows, projects, movies, and everything are going to tie in very closely with each other. There have been lots of hints and rumors that WandaVision will, of course, tie into Doctor Strange and Multiverse of Madness, but also that it will tie into Loki, and parts of that will also kind of tie into Falcon and Winter Soldier, which is going to tie into She-Hulk when that comes out, which will then tie into Kamala Khan when that comes out. It's just like all the parts are going to come together, and this is this big link and chain, and it's going to be awesome because I don't know if you guys saw the trailer for Falcon and Winter Soldier when it came out, but it looked just top notch. Okay, pure chef's kiss. I can't wait for that to come out. The She-Hulk show is going to be coming out. Looks amazing. Hawkeye looks like it's going to be damn good because it's not just Jeremy Renner, but it's also Haley Stanfield playing. What's her name? Kate Bishop. I don't know why it slipped my tongue so much. Playing Kate Bishop, who is the second Hawkeye, Hawkeye's apprentice, and who was also a total badass. Like she had no real like training when she first popped up in the comics. She was just like, "Hey, stuff needs to be done, and I need to help. Like I'm here, I should help and be responsible." So she just hopped into combat and started rocking shit. Like, so Kate Bishop, I'm actually kind of a fan of her. She's pretty cool. All of these shows that are going to be brought in and connected show that the MCU itself is changing and evolving and not sticking with that same formula, which definitely worked through the first few phases, but after some time, we got to switch it up or things start to get stagnant. I'm appreciating this. I'm digging this. Like so many of the little Easter eggs and little callbacks, shout outs that they got going on. I'm digging it. As a comic book head, this is what I want to see. Okay, this is what I'm hoping for when they say we're gonna bring comic book stories to life. This is the kind of stuff that I'm looking for, and I'm digging it. And I'm really digging it. Now, back to the show, back to WandaVision. We have a lot of characters. Okay, of course we have WandaVision, we have Wanda and Vision, but now we also have their children in the comics. Their children, Tommy and Billy, also known as Wiccan and Speed. One who is magical, which will be Wiccan, and one who is speed based, like Uncle Quicksilver, which is Speed. In the original storyline in the comics, they didn't actually exist. They existed, but didn't actually exist because it was part of the whole House of M. Wanda changed all of reality and rewrote things. And they never actually existed. They were figments of her imagination brought into reality by her mind. Eventually, they, once she realized what was going on and things, sorry if I'm messing this up, guys. I haven't actually read those in a long time. If I remember right, though, once they got through to her and she realized what was going on and she had to fix everything or whatever, they ceased to exist for a while, but eventually were brought back. I can't remember if it's through like a parallel universe or something else, but eventually they were actually made to be full canon characters. What I'm a little weirded out about is the fact that Vision isn't a human being. He doesn't have the stuff the other ingredients you need to make a baby to put that bun in the oven. I don't think he really has that. So these children in the show, obviously, I'm assuming they're going to go through a very similar situation of her losing her so-called children and causing her to have even more of a mental break or snap. No pun intended on the snap. And I feel like Wanda's powers and with everything going on with the death of Vision and his possible resurrection, with the return of their children, and something I haven't even touched on, the fact that her brother has appeared, Pietro has reappeared and had his cameo. But to those of you that are familiar with the MCU movies and the X-Men films, you will see there has definitely been a bit of a recast, as Quicksilver in the MCU is played by Aaron Taylor Johnson, also of Kick-Ass fame, who is the main character in Kick-Ass. In the X-Men films, Quicksilver is played by Evan Peters. For some reason, hasn't really been explained to us yet, but which I'm thinking ties into how Wanda is connected to Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, is that with her reality manipulation and different powers that she has that she's not even fully aware of just yet. That Wanda has accidentally rewritten her own history in both universes, both multiverses possibly, to where her brother, instead of being the Aaron Taylor Johnson Quicksilver that we used to, haha, you didn't see that thing. Instead of being him, it is the admittedly badass Quicksilver from the X-Men, the Fox films, which to me is a cool way of not just showing that there is a multiverse, but also the fact that they're acknowledging that the Fox Marvel merger and everything, bringing them back together, that these characters, although they were played by two separate actors, are supposed to be the same person. Quicksilver is Quicksilver. He's supposed to be the same person. They seemingly are saying that now the MCU movies, the MCU multiverse, and the Fox multiverse are two universes essentially in the same omniverse, as it were, which is really cool. Now, one thing, my personal theory as to why it was Evan Peters who showed up as Quicksilver and not Aaron Taylor Johnson is that the universes have somewhat merged to where there was enough similarities in the universes to where there wasn't too much of a change, but when they were finally brought together, like the Marvel Fox merger, when they were finally brought together, they said, okay, this part can stay, this part can stay. We gotta change a little bit. It's like, oh, this isn't what Quicksilver looks like anymore. Now he looks like this. It's all the same person. They were the same stories, but now they're combined, and he looks like this. He no longer looks like Aaron Taylor Johnson. He isn't tall and kind of muscular. Now he's a little shorter, just a bit more, smaller and compact, but still very fun. But who knows? Who knows? Right now, we have WandaVision, which is, I believe it's supposed to be 9 episodes. I've seen rumors online that there may be a 10th, which I'm cool with. That's like if there's hey, there's 5 movies in the next phase of the MCU, and then randomly a 6th one pops up, and you're like, oh, awesome, excellent, I love this. Even more bonus stuff and materials to help build on this universe. Awesome. So you never know. We could get 10 episodes. We could get a 10th episode that maybe counts as like the first episode of a different show. Like, what if the 10th episode of WandaVision counted as like the first episode of Loki or something? We don't know. The way they're doing this right now is pretty awesome, but also a little insane. Like they're very secretive of what's going on. Like, we don't know anything. Like, of course, with everything that's going on with the MCU, they have to worry about spoilers, leaks, especially for people like Tom Holland who just don't know how to not spoil things. Tom, but yeah, there's a lot going on, so they don't want to tell too much, especially with the whole you need to build suspense. You don't ruin things, you don't spoil everything. But with everything that's going on right now, we're at one of the biggest turning points, I believe, in, I wouldn't say not just the MCU, but kind of like all of like entertainment at the moment. Like the MCU isn't just movies anymore. It's not just the Marvel movies anymore. It's a whole like entertainment universe. Like there's the Marvel movies, there's books and comics that tie in, there's video games that tie directly in, there are TV shows now that tie directly in, there are audio dramas that tie directly in. Like the MCU, the whole multiverse of Marvel has really just expanded to every possible medium, and right now it's just amazing. Now, WandaVision. I'm sorry if I've been raving and just going off on tangents. WandaVision is the start. Okay, WandaVision is the start. It's that first stepping stone to into the next phase, and even just from the first step, if this is what the journey is going to be like, then we're all in for just a fantastic trip, because this is WandaVision has been just stellar, just top notch. Now, there's a few things that I was confused about at first. like the beekeeper. The first time they showed the beekeeper, I thought personally because they only showed him kind of in shadow and you couldn't really see his face through the protective stuff. I thought from the shape of his face and his profile, I personally thought that it was Ben Mendelsohn, the actor Ben Mendelsohn playing the beekeeper, or playing his scroll character Talos as the beekeeper. As you know, this is a part of Sword, and the scrolls have been shown to be working with Sword, with Nick Fury. In space, I figured maybe with whatever's going on up there with Nick Fury and the scrolls, they'd also come down to help out sometimes. Especially with scrolls being shapeshifters, they're perfect undercover agents. Like they're just the best. They can really blend in and be anybody. So the only problem is they can't replicate memories. So that's the only real issue. They're not as good on that one. But yeah, I thought it was Ben Mendelsohn that was the beekeeper, but it turns out that it was actually a different actor. Now, one thing that's going on is that in the show, it was seeming that everything that comes into the hex gets what was the word? Transmogrified, I believe is the proper word. Transmogrified into a similar thing, but from the era it's supposed to be. Like when they sent a helicopter drone in to spy on Wanda, and at first it was like a helicopter drone from like now, like our time. It was like modern and it was all slick and cool. And then when it went through the hex, it became just this little like 1950s helicopter tinker toy. And then later on, things keep happening, things are getting weird and weird. And I think that, the reason why they're going through these sitcoms or different TV show periods is that when Wanda and Pietro were initially experimented on by Hydra, that was all they had. That was their only like entertainment. Like you saw in some of the movies that I can't remember which movie it was. I think it was the one right before Age of Ultron actually showed them. But like in the end credit scene, you see Quicksilver just like running around, bouncing off the wall, literally bouncing off the walls, like not being able to control his powers. So I'm assuming that was right after their powers actually were kicked in and activated. And you see Scarlet Witch, I believe she was like playing with a block or something, like a wood block, just making it float, changing it, and then she like splintered it or some shit. Now I'm thinking that the reason why they're going through these TV shows is that was the only entertainment they had, especially being in our country, as they've shown in lots of different movies and TV shows. A lot of foreign countries don't get our newest shows until a lot later, to where shows that we saw maybe, I don't know, 10 years ago, they just got the rights to broadcast in some other country. So some stuff that we see as a rerun and a joke maybe a joke or something that we've been telling for like the past 6 years is just brand new to somebody else in another place. And it's just the funniest and most hilarious thing ever to them. It's old hat to us, but to them it's brand new because that's when they got it. They got it years later. Just like you might hear a song here in America, and then like 7 years later, that song for some reason just blows up in like Belize or something. Like it's weird. But I'm thinking that's why like they only had access to old broadcasts, like that's what was coming in Sokovia or wherever they were actually experimenting on them, or that was just all they wanted to show them, was just old what just old footage and TV shows where the wife was subservient and just she's in the kitchen and all she does she's either at the kitchen, you know, or making her husband a drink or bringing him his pipe and slippers or washing clothes, like not having that real, that reality of TV. Having a woman with an actual life and the man just goes to work and da 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 da. Another day at the office, home to the wife, and just from that era, and then as TV went on, it became more and more realistic, and touched on more and more family things. That's why, because Wanda with everything that she's going through, she would prefer, she wishes she had a TV life right now. She wishes everything was just a sitcom where you might have a problem and it may seem huge, but by the end of the episode, it's all going to be wrapped up nicely in a bow. And tomorrow is going to be a bright, shiny new day with a whole new adventure to go on. Like, that's what she's hoping for. That's what she wants in her mind because she can't deal with the grief of losing the man she loves, uh, dealing with being gone for 5 years throughout the snap, just everything that she's had to deal with from from Age of Ultron on. Like she's going through a lot. It might not seem like it, but she has. Like she went from losing her, from being a bad guy and switching over, saying what's right, and becoming a hero, and losing her twin brother right after that, and just Wanda has gone through some of the most mentally and emotionally traumatic and draining experiences of anyone in the MCU. Like, yeah, everyone in the MCU has their demons and their pain and hurt that they're going through. Like everyone does, but she has gone through so much in such a short time that it's all just pounding and just adding so much pressure on it. Like Captain America has had literally like a century. Most of it he was frozen, but Captain America had a lot of time to deal with the things he's gone through. Same thing with Tony Stark. Tony Stark went through, losing his parents at a young age and having to grow up and run this company and everything. He's had time to deal with it. Everyone who's had some kind of major issue or something that has defined their personality and their character arc, they've had time to deal with it. Wanda's never had that. From the jump, it's been action, combat, action, combat, action, combat, death, action, combat, death, action, combat, death. It's just been a constant rush for her. And she was, I guess, technically dead or disappeared or blood snapped away, whatever you want to call it. And then when she came back, more of her friends, died because it might not seem like it, but I'm sure some people died during the Battle of Endgame. Okay, they don't talk about. I'm sure more than just Tony Stark died on the side of good. Like, yes, he was the big hero and he made the sacrifice, but I'm sure that he wasn't the only person that died on the side of the Avengers. Like, I'm not saying make a huge deal out of it because they brought in like a bunch of different soldiers from Wakanda and sorcerers from Camartage and other places and Ravagers and all kinds of places from all over. But you never know how those people affected her. Okay, how that whole situation affected her, and then with the death of Vision, the only person that she's ever outside of her brother, the only person that she's ever really loved and has really been there for her, truly has always been there for her, shown that. Uh, you know, it's a lot. You lose the person you love, and yeah, it can it can really mess with your head, so to speak. Losing someone that you really care about like that can be one of the most just devastating experiences that you'll ever go through because you had so much love for them and had so much love to give them, and that's gone. And there were so many possibilities to have with them, and you can't have those anymore. And with her already having a somewhat fragile mental state from being, experimenting with the Mind Stone, I believe personally she being experimented on and having her powers activated, especially telepathic powers, it weakened her mental state. She may be, extremely powerful, but I believe it also put cracks in kind of her mental state, and that I kind of believe it's somewhat my opinion that it's not just It's not just Wanda Maximoff. Like, yeah, there's Wanda Maximoff, and she's usually the one in control. But I think the Scarlet Witch is also in it, which is why that's why I believe they haven't given her any kind of code name. They just call her Wanda or Maximoff. She doesn't have any kind of. They haven't called her the Scarlet Witch. They haven't done anything, and they're getting it. They're working their way there. And I believe what's going to happen is that Wanda is going to end up becoming. I don't want to say the main bad guy, but I feel like she's going to become a bad guy either after WandaVision. Yeah, I feel like she's going to become a bad guy after WandaVision, and is possibly a villain in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Like they haven't really. All they've said is that she's in the movie. That's it. They haven't really explained whether she's playing a good guy, a bad guy, whether she's trying to help Doctor Strange or he's trying to stop her. They haven't really explained it. And then we have characters like Jimmy Woo, who, if you've seen Ant-Man movies, he's hilarious and awesome. And I'm assuming is going to be recruited by Sword to become a new agent because he's Jimmy Woo. And I don't know why you wouldn't, because Jimmy Woo was awesome. Randall Parker's Jimmy Woo, just phenomenal, man. I love this guy. And the chemistry between him and Darcy, who they're talking about, giving their own spin-off. Now, there have been rumors online that they may give Jimmy Woo and Darcy Lewis their own spin-off where they have, adventures and are solving mysteries and going, going weird, cases and things like that. Sounds a lot like they just said, hey, we're just doing Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but over again. That's what that sounds like. But I'm okay with it. I mean, I'm okay with it. I like the fact that they're taking characters that weren't the main focus of the projects that they were in and giving them more spotlight. I'm okay with that. Now, we come to Monica Rambeau, or who will surely at some point be known as Spectrum. I think she might have just gotten her powers already. Now, it's not a lot going on, but I think with everything, with her being snapped away and then brought back, and then, rushing into, God, what is wrong with him? Rushing into Wanda's just hex field or whatever over Westview, New Jersey, and then being launched out of it by Wanda. Now, when she was launched out of it, there's still Wanda's, like, that aura of Wanda's red energy still on her and on her clothes and everything. And she's launched out of it, she's on the ground. It's still on her and fading. It fades away eventually, but it still lingers on her for a while. I think through all of that, through, being snapped away and then snapped back and then and then going through that field and then being forced back out of the field with her powers, I think that is what's going to awaken her powers. Because for those that don't know, Monica Rambeau is the daughter of, I can't remember her name, but she's the daughter of, what's her name? I'm just gonna call her Mama Rambeau from Captain Marvel, the one that was best friends with Captain Marvel. She is her daughter, all grown up. In the comics, she actually does become a superhero who goes by the name Captain Marvel for a time, and then she goes by Photon, and then she goes by Spectrum. Because she can become any form of light in the spectrum. She can go ultraviolet, she can go red, she's light. Like she is light incarnate. She is physically light. She can travel at light speed if she wants to. And apparently, according to the comics, which would have been really cool if she had her powers during the movies, but according to the comics, she can travel at light speed and go into Thanos' eyes, right, and fry his brain because she's light. She's like, yeah, I can't remember the exact issue, but there's a spot where there's a point where she's talking. I want to say it was the Captain America or Tony Stark or just one of the other Avengers, but And she says that I could go through his eyes and fry his brain like that, like at light speed. Like that would have been awesome. Like there's certain people that in the MCU, like Captain Marvel and Wanda, who could have definitely destroyed Thanos, like it was nothing. Me personally, I feel in the in game scene where they were fighting everything and they had Captain Marvel fight them, I feel like they downplayed her. Like I know a lot of people don't like Captain Marvel, they don't like Brie Larson. I don't have a problem with it, but I feel like they downplayed her a lot. Like she just literally just destroyed his ship in like one move, and it's just wrecking stuff. She's powered, like she got her power from an Infinity Stone, and now it's like, oh yeah, he has all the Infinity Stones that are going and everything, but he got like, I think he got like one stone and could overpower her all of a sudden. It's like, I don't think that would work that way. But then they had Wanda coming, who's also powered by got her powers from a stone, and Wanda almost destroyed her, like like it was nothing, just literally to the point of like crushing him. He was just rain fire, like sir, our men, just do it. Like yeah, he was obviously scared shitless. He's like, yeah, I'm willing to sacrifice so many of our men just to make sure that this random fucking human chick who I don't even know doesn't destroy me and fucking grind me into dust. Because she was seemingly either going to crush him into nothingness or was going to rip him apart. Either way, he didn't want to deal with that. And, then he called the ship and the ship did that. And then Captain Marvel showed up later. And to me, it made it seem like Captain Marvel and Scarlet Witch aren't on the same level of power, which they should be. These are two people that were both powered by Infinity Stones in somewhat similar ways. I feel like they should have an equal level of power, unless you're saying that the stones themselves, each one stone is stronger than the other. Like, oh, she got her power from this stone, and she got her power from this stone, but since this stone is stronger than this stone, she's stronger. Like, I don't feel like that makes any sense because the Infinity Stones, especially as how they've been detailed in the comics, they're all of equal power and they work in a circuit. Right? The Mind Stone can help control the Power Stone. The Power Stone can help control the Time Stone. The Time Stone helps control the Space Stone. The Space Stone helps control the. Why am I missing it? But you get what I'm saying. Like there's literally a picture of like them all being in a circuit. Like they work together. Like if you're a person, certain people can use the powers more, but they all work together. They're all equal power. So them being powered by different stones, but having like not the same power set, but having different power levels seems weird. Like it seems like Captain Marvel got downplayed a little bit. Now, granted, if Captain Marvel and Scarlet Witch, just had a head-on collision, just face to face, them two going at it, who would win? Who knows at this point? They've shown that Captain Marvel is, she's a game changer. She came through, destroyed Thanos' ship like it was nothing. Cool. But then you have Scarlet Witch, who I personally believe that when Thanos' ship got the fire on everybody, I feel like I feel like that wouldn't have affected her. Like, yeah, she was focused on killing Thanos and everything. But I felt like if she wanted to, she could have just shield. Nothing touches me while I'm destroying him right now. And it would have been fine because she's powerful as hell. Like Scarlet Witch, not just in the MCU, but in the comics, is like one of the most powerful people ever, ever. She's like rivaling like cosmic level beings, and she's just a chick born on Earth. But yeah, I'm sorry if this video is going a little long, but there's a lot. There's a lot to unpack. Like I didn't want to do a video per episode, and I am sorry that I haven't been putting up much. That I haven't put up like anything in a while. I just been working a lot. Like today is like my first day off in like a week or so. So I haven't had a lot of time, and the time that I do have off, it's at a weird time because I work nights. So I'm sorry for ranting and raving in this video or for it going a little long. Uh, I just didn't want to do like every do like a 10-minute video for each episode or something, or just me talking about the whole show. So if this is an issue for how long this rant, I apologize. It was not on purpose, but I just I feel like this is the start of the MCU making not a pivot, but just opening up even more to opportunities, to different stories to tell, to possibilities. Because now, if they're just, it seems like Marvel and DC both are leaning more into the multiverse and omniverse aspect of it, and I'm okay with that because we could eventually, for those that don't know, we could end up having an actual Marvel versus DC movie or TV show or video game or anything. I'd be fine with just another Marvel versus DC comic book happening again. And for those of you that don't know, that is a real thing. That has happened multiple times. There are Marvel versus DC, where the Justice League there's Justice League of America versus the Avengers. There's Marvel versus DC. There is a character named Access, whose real name is Axel Asher. He is I believe, the only character who is owned by both Marvel and DC. He can travel to both the Marvel and DC multiverses, and does, I wouldn't say on a regular basis because lately they've only used him as a like little background character or Easter egg. But yeah, he's the only person that can travel between both multiverses at will, just whenever he wants to. He's owned by both companies and can appear in both. Now, what would be amazing to me is if in either camp, okay, either in the DC movies and TV shows and everything that's going off, like the Suicide Squad and Peacemaker, everything else is gonna be coming out from them, or over in Marvel with the TV shows and the movies and everything else they're working on. I would like just one little bit, just one little second of access, okay, of the character Access being there. He has if you see him in the comics, he has a somewhat unique look to him as far as his clothes and gear and everything. And I wish just even just like a quick, the end of a post credit scene, okay, just somebody, hey, Bruce Banner, you have a call from blah blah or something like this, anything, and on the other end is Axel Asher, or we just see like I don't know a note or something from somebody that says like things are going down, signed Access or something, like just anything, just something to hint that Access they're gonna use Access, and that would blow my mind. That would blow my mind. I know it's not gonna happen, probably not for the longest time or ever. They probably never will do a Marvel vs. DC. Like one, it will cost so much. Okay, it will cost so much money to get all of the actors, even if they only pick like 4 characters from each universe. Okay, it will cost so much. Like it will cost so much to get all of these people. Okay, like the budget would just be ridiculous, just utterly ridiculous. But it would be one of the most amazing things. I'm sure whatever the budget was, they would make it back within I don't know a couple of months because Marvel has definitely been one of the biggest things in entertainment for the past decade. DC, it's tried to be one of the biggest things in entertainment in the past decade, it hasn't worked as much because it's had, movies like Suicide Squad, which to me wasn't a terrible movie. It wasn't terrible. It wasn't The Room or anything, but man, it could have done a lot better. Like some of the acting wasn't where it should have been. The storyline wasn't where it should have been. Now, what I did love is Viola Davis as Amanda Waller. Perfect. Viola, I love you, girl. That's my boo. Wow. But the it just seemed like DC was having a bunch of I wouldn't say flops, but just not hitting where it should have. Like until Joker hit, and then it was like, damn, that's where it's at. We need to go for stuff like this. Joker hit, and they kind of seemed like they switched it up. They kind of changed what they were going for. They didn't need the whole. They kind of realized we didn't need the dark grittiness that was very prevalent in movies like Christopher Nolan's Batman trilogy. That dark, gritty realism. We don't need that, especially not in movies that are based on comic book characters and they're supposed to be superheroes. We don't need the gritty darkness. I get that Gotham City is supposed to be a dark and dangerous, gloomy place. People die here. Bad things happen. I get that, but bad things happen in lots of places, like Chicago and New York and LA and all those places like that. Any kind of big city, there's probably going to be bad things happening, but it's not just overly just dark and gritty at all times. Like they make it seem like Gotham City is a city that they should have just wiped off the map a long time ago. Like not Ra's al Ghul doing it, just America itself. Like we can't let this keep happening. And they kind of messed up with the whole leaning away from the fact that this is a comic. These are comic book characters. These are superheroes. Yeah, it can be kind of gritty and dark at times, but there's supposed to be that light, that happiness, that levity to it, because it's a comic book. It's supposed to, yeah, they go through some darkness for a while and then brought back up into the light because they're the heroes, they're the good guys. The MCU has a firm grasp on it. They understand, like, yeah, we can have our dark parts, but then we brighten it up. We mix it up. A bit of darkness and then some light. A bit of darkness and then some light. And DC was just like, nah. Everybody's parents is dead. Edgy as hell. Yeah. Darkness. That's darkness. And it was just ridiculous. It was just, it hurt them more than it helped. But the MCU has so far been killing it. Just killing it. And I'm with it. And so far, and it looks like they're going to continue killing it. Like, I'm all the way behind this. I'm all the way with it. Whatever is going on in the MCU. Eternals is going to be coming out soon. Shang-Chi, that's going to be coming out soon. Like, there's lots of movies coming out. There's TV shows coming out. Like, I'm with it. MCU, keep doing the thing. Keep rocking shit. WandaVision, keep astounding me. Now, there's also been rumors that Quicksilver popped up in WandaVision. Now, that wasn't actually Quicksilver, but it was Mephisto, aka the devil of the Marvel Universe, actually trying to screw with Scarlet Witch's head and get access to her power. Could be the case. No idea. So far, the only devil-related things that have popped up in the MCU have been Ghost Rider, the Ghost Rider, and all that, and that's only been over in Agents of Shield. Now, would I like to see a new Ghost Rider movie? Absolutely. I'd like to see a Ghost Rider TV show. Hell yeah. I would dig that, because Ghost Rider is badass. Now, if that does turn out to be Mephisto, masquerading as Quicksilver. That would be a move. That would open them up to bring in the Ghost Rider, Midnight Suns, who I talked about in a past video. Uh, Possibly, what is his name? Why do I forget this? Blackheart. Blackheart, the son of Mephisto. Possibly him. Just lots of other just supernatural and mystical and cosmic themes and characters that could be brought into the MCU to fully open it up and really let them directly adapt certain comic book storylines. Because they've had certain ones they've had to adapt that were switched up because they didn't have access to certain characters like Civil War. Civil War got changed because in the actual Civil War comics, by the time Civil War happened, Black Panther and Storm were married. Okay? They were married. Storm was the queen of Wakanda. And Bill Foster, the character that was played by Lawrence Fishburne in Ant-Man and the Wasp, was actually who, as they talked about in the movie, how he also used to be Giant Man or Goliath, as he went by. In the comics, Goliath, Bill Foster, was killed by a clone of Thor named Ragnarok that was made by Tony Stark. Okay? And as you see, a lot of that was changed because Thor himself, Thor or a clone, nothing Asgardian was in Civil War movie. Okay, nothing Asgardian. Storm and mutants were not in there because they were not brought into the MCU yet. That was before the merger, before Marvel had the rights back to their characters. So there's a lot of things that are changed. But with mutants seemingly being brought in, with Disney getting rights back to lots of their characters, and with the possibility of multiverses and things opening up, there's a guarantee, almost to me, of a direct comic adaptation of some of the biggest stories that Marvel has ever made. Okay, we have, full on like Enter the Phoenix level stuff. If you don't know what Enter the Phoenix is, you should look into it because I'll tell you this: if you like comics, if you like the X-Men, if you like Phoenix, it is badass. It's worth reading. It's worth looking into. It is badass. You will see characters that you have never seen before with the Phoenix power, such as Doctor Doom, Captain America, Blade, Man Thing, and every single one of them looks ridiculously badass, especially Captain America. Captain America looks dope as hell with the Phoenix powers. Okay, and this is stuff that I firmly believe, that Marvel is going to try to eventually bring in to the movies or the TV shows or whatever else, because it seems that they really are trying to consolidate, condense, and just bring in everything to where it is all connected. Because they used to say, "Oh, it's all connected, it's all connected," and then as you saw, well, Agents of Shield was connected for like the first 4 seasons, and then kind of drifted off. And then the Netflix shows, which was also supposedly all connected, they were connected to each other, and then no focus. You don't hear anybody talking about Jessica Jones, the Unbreakable Man of Harlem. There's some crazy karate guy up in New York. There's some blonde dude beating up people up in Hell's Kitchen. You never hear any of that in the MCU. Okay? Never hear any of that. And then they wouldn't even talk about it. They wouldn't say Tony Stark or anything in the Netflix shows. They just called it the incident uptown and stuff. They never really called it the Battle of New York except like one time I think in a newspaper that was on the wall. So the MCU was, connected before, but now it really is. Now they're fully just tying them in and bringing all these little bits together, and it's working perfect. I know this video has ran very long. I would like to apologize for that. I would like to thank you to anyone that has sat and watched this entire thing. It's been almost an hour. I apologize for that. So thank you for watching this, supporting me. Sorry for the wait that it has been, how long it's been. And I promise you there will be more coming. See y'all.